Quick question: has Werner, Richarlison, Brendan Johnson, that random black dude they signed from Burnley, has any of them done anything like this? Not this one. North London derby settings on Sunday. I had to get tapping toes. Unfortunately, he supports Spurs, but he's one of the most knowledgeable football fans I feel in the YouTube space. How you doing, my friend, man? Or enemy, at least for the next few days, blood.
Yeah, enemy. I'm good, man. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me on, bro. Sorry, just adjusting my mic.
Man, do your thing, man. Do your thing. Get ready, get prepared, man. It's a quick one, but it will be packed with a lot of info. There is one question I wanted to ask you, man. Can we just go around the panel real quickly and we talk about when we've won a trophy and our best trophy moments at our clubs? Start with you.
You know what?
That clip is amazing.
I'm about to click leave studio, yeah? Because I ain't gonna lie to you, though. Listen, a lot of people won't regard it highly, but I really enjoyed the League Cup win in 2008. I know it's the only trophy that we've won in my adult years, or
that's sick, man.
Years, but I enjoyed it. We smashed you lot on the route to the final.
That's a big trophy, man.
We beat Chelsea in the final as well, so we're beating our two bitter rivals en route to winning it, man. I'll take that.
That's amazing. Jamie O'Hara and them, man. That's amazing, man. That's great, man. That's for me. That's better than the Invincibles, the Chelsea sides, the United sides. That's cold, bro. That's cold, man. I rate that so much. I mean, we're all inclusive on this platform, but I have to wonder why you've got a cock on your hat, man.
Listen, it's our club logo, sigil, whatever you want to call it, man. This is what it is. This is what the powers that be chose back in the day. Cock and ball, Tottenham Hotspur. Right. It is what it is, man. We're still a serious team, man. Still the 6th most trophies in England. Yeah, don't forget that. 6th most trophies in England. Don't forget that. Yeah.
Hey, man, banter aside though, man, before we get into the North London derby, obviously you're a Spurs fan. And like I said, man, I know that, we run bants and we do all of this, but I think you're quite balanced in your opinions. And obviously I'm not watching Spurs week in, week out. I have watched the last few games at the start of the season, but what's the overall sentiment around your football club, the playing styles, the good, the bad, and the ugly?
To be honest, I think, one sec, let me just zoom this in.
Do your thing.
Yeah. So I think with us, I think it's a season where we just want to see Tottenham really, really assault a trophy, like go all guns blazing for a trophy. And I think when you look at the way last season ended and you look at the gaps in our team, it feels as if we've left ourselves short-staffed again in key positions. Like, don't get me wrong, we've signed some good players. Like, I can't really say a bad word about any of the players we signed. I thought Solanke, way too much money in my opinion. I don't think guys who only have one season where they scored at a good rate should be going for 65 million. But at the heart of it, Solanke is a good striker. He can come in, he can link play, he's strong, he presses, good age.
He's an Arsenal fan as well.
Doesn't really matter, to be honest. It doesn't matter if he's an Arsenal fan. As long as he's playing in a Spurs shirt and he bangs for Tottenham, that's what matters. But he looks a good player, right? Archie Gray, he looks a good talent. Bergvall looks a good talent. Odegaard looks a good talent. Don't really know much about this South Korean kid that we signed, but apparently he's meant to be good. But the problem is, you look at the players that we signed outside of Solanke, and they're all kids, 19-year-olds, 18-year-olds. They're either all kids or they're Werner. Re-signing Werner on loan, a guy who doesn't really score, doesn't really assist, just isn't a good footballer, doesn't really retain possession well. He
seems quite insecure as well, man. Like, you've seen crap footballers do a madness in the Prem because they believe in themselves. For me, I've never got the vibe that Werner truly believes that he's like a top-level footballer.
He's just not good enough, to be honest. Like, we just have to call it what it is. He's not good enough. And I look at the positions that we were most vulnerable in. Left side, our left side of defense. Did we bring anyone in to strengthen that side? No. Number 6. The hope is Archie Gray becomes the number 6 maybe in a couple of years' time, but he's 18.
Still learning, yeah.
If Basuma goes down or drops off a cliff in terms of form, who do we rely on? Bentancur was going to be another option. Bentancur is facing a potential 6 to 12 match ban. When you look in the front line as well, we needed serious injections of quality into the attack. We needed a new right winger to displace Brennan Johnson and completely move Kulusevski off the right. And we needed a new left winger to actually take the burden off Son and ease the load that we put on Son, because Son is 32 years old now. Son is no longer a dynamic winger who's going to cook his man. He's not been that player for the last 3-4 years. What he has
having to change the way he plays, yeah.
Like he's an absolute bagsman. He scores goals, yeah. So we needed to move away from constantly having to rely upon Son in every single XI we play. We've not done that. Son is still a guaranteed starter on the left-hand side. Brennan Johnson is still going to get a lion's share of minutes on the right-hand side. Odegaard, talented player. I think he
very good technically.
Yeah, I think he can come good in Tottenham in the years to come. And I would hope that he gets some game time. I know he has got some game time this season, but he's still young. He's still raw. And I don't expect Odegaard to come in and be that creative, carry that creative burden so early on in his career. So again, we're left short in key positions outside of the attack. But what I will say is we have a good enough team to put up another top 4 challenge. But I don't feel like we have a team that can guarantee us top 4. And that's just where my head is at the moment. I think with top 4, it's more of a hope than a guarantee. And I think in terms of the cup competitions, however, we have a good opportunity to really try and go far in the cup competitions, because whilst I don't think we've done enough to improve our 11, I do think our bench is better. I think it's better to call off Archie Gray off the bench instead of Oliver Skip. It's better to now call Richarlison off the bench instead of Timo Werner, right? Like Richarlison was starting games week in, week out for us when he was fit. Now you're a bench option. You come off the bench, you can score goals. It's better to call Bergvall off the bench than some of the other players that we've had in the past.
Another one that's good technically, I feel.
Yeah. And we got Jed Spence now as well. So it's better to call Jed Spence off the bench or play him in rotation than a Ben Davies. So I do think, and same for Odegaard instead of a Werner. So I do think the squad is probably better than it was last season, but I still don't think that the team on the whole is good enough relative to what we want to see from the Tottenham team. When you look at the money we spent so much money because we've had to gut this team out, gut it out, replenish it, regenerate it, bring the average age down, try and like really reset across all positions. And it costs money. It costs a lot of money. But you just want, as a Spurs fan, to go into a season where you feel as if the board have done everything in their power to arm the manager with the strongest squad possible to really go out and assault a cup competition. And
do you think he's done that? Or they done that, the Levy's
I don't think they have done that. So I don't think the squad's good enough to challenge for anything in the league. I think we got a good chance of making it far in the Europa League. I think if we're serious, we should be looking to make the quarters at least of the League Cup, quarters or semis. And then in the FA Cup, I want us to be a bit more serious with it as well. So I feel like our team is suited to a cup run as opposed to us really taking big strides up the Premier League table. I still think we're not as strong as Liverpool. We're not as strong as you. We're not as strong as Man City. But if we can try to close the gap in comparison to the top 3 from last season, then I guess we just have to go from there.
Do you think you got enough numbers where obviously you got to play 38 Premier League games? You know, I'm sure you and a lot of Spurs fans want to win a trophy. Like, do you reckon you have enough numbers?
I think we got the numbers, but I don't think we have the quality. So if I look in the attack, I'm actually pretty comfortable with the striking option. So in the middle, Solanke as a starter and Richarlison as a sub, I'm not mad at that. Like I did want to sell Richarlison this summer to try and cash in, but I'm not mad at him staying. I think he may not be the best technically, but he can score goals. So
he's the sort of guy to be on it for Sunday. I'll say that much.
I'm not mad at that, but I think if you look at the left-hand side, we now have Son as a guaranteed starter, which shouldn't be the case. And his backup is either a 19-year-old in Odebear or a completely cooked Timo Werner. And then on the right-hand side, you have Brennan Johnson or Odebear. So Odebear, he's been used on the left and he's been used on the right. So he's essentially going to cover two positions. That's not enough for me in the attack. In the midfield, I think the midfield is probably where we're the most strongest. I think we've actually got, like, I would say we've got a good midfield. You got Basuma, Bentancur, Maddison, Sarr, Bergvall, Archie Gray. I think that's a good midfield. It's not an elite midfield, but it's a good midfield to try and compete for top four. The defense, however, the centre backs, I like both our starting centre backs. I think they're very good.
They're good
I think Dragusin is a good centre back as well, in rotation, but I don't think we have another natural left-sided centre back to play in the event where Mickey van der Ven is injured. And then I think at left back, we're now in a position we were in last year. The only difference is we've swapped Emerson Royale for Jed Spence. So Jed Spence is essentially going to be the cover for right back, and he's also going to be the cover for left back. So yeah, man, we've got numbers, but I would have liked to have seen real strength and depth, and that can only happen when you improve your first 11, because when you improve your first 11, the players who are now in your first 11, you push them down to your bench and you make your team stronger.
I think you're bang on the money there. You know, naturally you bring in better players. If they don't necessarily raise the ceiling, indirectly they raise the floor. So how do you look at the project beyond the obvious? Because as a rival, we're not rivals, but as a rival looking at Postecoglou, the bad, I would say, I think he's a bit naive with the high line and set pieces. Other than that, I think he's brave. I think he plays exciting football. I actually think, you know, there's a lot of managers that in the league that give a lot of lip service, and then on the day you don't really see the, you know, comparisons. I think he does that. Obviously, you know, I think you've got a good amount of players, but then I look at it and it does feel a bit like Arsenal in the early days under Mikel Arteta, in that, you know, as you said, you're kind of in the process of flushing out players, kind of having to use some players that didn't move on, evidently bringing in a younger squad, which indirectly means you maybe have to temper your expectations because you ain't got that experience. But like, how do you feel about the project then? Because as an outsider looking in, I feel, as I said, there's a lot of similarities. I feel the games I've watched of Spurs so far, you know, you got 3 points off Everton. Beyond the obvious, I'm not trying to discredit that, but Everton have been dross. I think you lot should have scored about 7 goals in the first half against Leicester. You didn't. You saw the result. I think you should have killed Newcastle in the second half. You didn't. You saw the result. So I think there's volatility in the halves between you lot, and I think you've got a young squad. It's different, but it does remind me of our early days with Mikel Arteta, where we had Smith Rowe, Martinelli, Saka. These guys were younger, and a couple of other exceptions to the rules. But how do you look at it then? And then how do you also judge Postecoglou this year as well?
Yeah, I think so. I'll answer both questions. So on the team, I do get the similarity, right? I think obviously you're further ahead in your journey than we are. I think in terms of the squad, I do think we are relying more. We're now more reliant on younger players as opposed to lots of like experienced players. I think on Ange Postecoglou, what I'm expecting this season is lessons learned from last season, right? Last season was your first season. It was started off fantastically well. It tailed off in the back end of the season. What can you do to address some of the issues that caused you consistent problems last year? So to your point, the set pieces, for instance, now the set pieces,
you don't have a set piece coach. I might be wrong.
I'm not too sure. I think they've tried to bring someone.
That could be Twitter rumors, to be fair.
I think they've tried to bring someone in because I think our offensive set pieces have certainly looked better so far in early games this season, but not sure what they've done at the defensive end. But it's not just him, right? I think Vicario, who was really good for us last year, his weakness is in those set pieces, coming off his line to actually try and punch the ball or try and claim crosses, etc., etc. He needs to be stronger there too. But if I look at Ange, I think learn your lessons from last year defensively and get us closer to a trophy lift, right? I don't expect Ange to, I'm not going to persecute Ange if he doesn't finish in the top 4 this season, because I don't think that we are definitively the 4th best team in England if I look at our squad. But I do think that we're capable of finishing 4th. Where I will penalize Ange is if, as I said, I don't see any improvement in some of the issues that we've seen last year. If I see a huge decline in our league performances and results, and if I see the same pathetic exit in the cup competitions, I'm going to be angry, because there's 3 cup competitions that we can realistically go for now. Last year we only had 2. I don't want to see us out in the first round of the League Cup, right? I think we drew Coventry away. That needs to be a dub. I don't want to see us struggle to make the knockouts of the Europa. That should be a dub. I don't want to see us out in the first or second round of the FA Cup, unless you're playing a Man City at home. And even then, I don't even care for the excuses. Get away to win. I'm tired of seeing Tottenham fail to capitalize on trying to win silverware every season. And I think that's a big, big remit for Ange Postecoglou, someone who wants to win, someone who came from a club where he was winning trophies. That's, for me,
said he normally wins in his second year as well.
Exactly. So if I'm looking at Ange this season, what do I want to see? I want to see an improvement in the defensive record, so learning from the mistakes. And I want to see Spurs really, really assault a trophy competition this season.
What would you say is your strengths and weaknesses as a team so far? For those that don't, because obviously I said certain things, but like for those that actually watch Spurs week in, week out, like yourself.
So our strengths. So I would say I would say the one thing I like about Tottenham since Ange Postecoglou's come in is I think there's a clear and consistent pattern of play, and I think we play in a way that actually gets us creating chances against lots of teams. I can't remember many games last year where we played and we struggled to at least like penetrate or probe the opposition. So I would say one of our strengths is chance creation. I think we're quite good at generating high volume of chances, trying to keep possession, trying to pin teams in. I think our weaknesses, for me, they're widespread. So first and foremost, I think our weaknesses is we leave ourselves way too outnumbered when we're in defensive phases. So obviously a lot gets made of our high line, but I think it's not just playing a high line. The issue is not having enough personnel available to defend.
Not being street smart with it.
Yeah, exactly. So like, or not knowing your players' characteristics, right? Don't get me wrong. There are players in our backline sometimes who have momentary lapses in concentration. We've seen it happen with Romero. We've seen it happen with Destiny.
Every player in the league, man.
Yeah, Pedro Porro, obviously, he's not a naturally gifted defender, but individually, these guys are good players. They're all good players, and yet we're conceding bucket loads of goals. Why? Because I think our coaching setup tactically isn't the best when we're out of possession. I think for me, that's our biggest weakness. And our second biggest weakness is our firepower, right? So I mentioned the fact that we have the ability to create a lot of chances, but we don't have enough players who can put teams to the sword. We don't have enough players. No, it's similar, but we don't have enough players who can. So you have, obviously, we have Son, you have Saka, you have Havertz, we have Solanke, but you have Trossard, right? You have Martinelli. I know who's not been great. We have Kulusevski. The point I'm making is we don't have enough players like Bukayo Saka, someone who can get the ball from a 0.0008 XG moment and turn that into a 0.8 XG moment for Arsenal, whether that's a chance,
turn water into wine, really.
Him doing something to fashion, whether that's him fashioning a chance for himself or creating a chance for others. Weakness outside of our defending out of possession and sometimes in possession is the attack, right? If I look at personnel, we simply don't have good enough personnel across our front line. And then if I look at the characteristics of our personnel, it's way too one-dimensional. We have 2 road runners in Werner and Johnson who literally don't pick their head up. They just run in a straight line and just try and lob a crossing low. They never really elevate their crosses. And when they try to elevate their crosses, it completely goes into rosette. You then have Kulusevski, who's at this point, he's not a winger. He can't play as a winger in this system. You then have Richarlison, who doesn't have the technical quality. He can score a goal here or there, but he doesn't have the technical quality, and he's injury prone. So now you're flogging Son, who I've already spoken about his deficiencies. He can't beat players consistently one-on-one. He doesn't have the same explosive burst that he used to. And of course, he's not going to. He's 32 years old. So I'm looking at the attack now, and I'm like, for all the dominance that we have, for all the possession that we keep, when we do have possession, we don't have a good enough attack to convert that possession into consistently high XG chances. And when we do create those high XG chances, we don't have the quality to put those chances to bed outside of Son. Now we're hoping Solanke can help with that. Solanke can definitely help with that, but Solanke and Son, that's just 2 players. You need more than 2 players. You lot had Trossard coming off the bench, 15 goals. Where's our Trossard?
That's true.
Yeah. Where's our Trossard? We don't have one. If I look at Liverpool, they have Mo Salah. They have Jota. Spurs right now, we only have one killer. That's Son. Solanke remains to be seen. We're hoping he can step into that role, but we need more. And it's not just killing in terms of scoring goals. It's also being able to make the right decisions in these decisive moments, because there's been enough chances, enough moments where Brennan Johnson gets the ball on the right-hand side, acres of space, bodies flooding into the box, and we get a dead
can't find a man.
So those are my 2 issues. Defending when the ball breaks down from a move that we're trying to put together, and our inability to actually put teams away. If we can sort out those issues, then we will see a much better Tottenham side. Because I don't think we're a bad side. I think when we put it together, we're a good side. We're a very good side. But the problem is putting that together every week. It doesn't happen because of a combination of things: personnel, coaching setup. It just doesn't happen.
So how do you feel going into the North London derby? Because naturally it's a game where, you know, if we're at the top, you lot at the bottom, or you lot are flying and we're crap, form goes out the window. You just have to get it done. Obviously, I'm pretty sure you've done your own content. You've been on platforms. Obviously, every game means something. You can look back in May and say hindsight. Like last year, we got away with it at your place. I think we personally dropped stupid points and didn't kill the game at the Emirates when we should have, right? So you could look back in hindsight. Some people will say, you know, for Arsenal anyways, it's a game of the season, etc., etc. Spurs should smell blood. There's a lot of injuries. I don't feel it's going to be a game of quality. I think it's going to come down to who simply could take their chances. I think we're going to be difficult to break down, even more so because of our injuries. Our fluidity wasn't quite there necessarily at this part of the season when everybody was fit, and I'm sure you've seen all the news concerning stuff. But do you think this is a game beyond the obvious Spurs should be winning, added into the fact I think we beat you in the last 2 years now at your place? And how do you actually think the game's going to go as well, bro?
I think we're going to win, to be honest. I think we're due a win, to be honest. I think we're due a win. Last year left a bitter taste in my mouth, honestly, because I think that was the most fugazi 3-0 lead heading into halftime. I could not believe that
I agree slightly.
3-0. It was so fugazi, and not even trying to throw shade on Arsenal, but we started off the game so well. Romero hit the post. We had a goal disallowed. Son missed that one-on-one towards the end. We had enough opportunity to be in the game, and yet we're 3-0 down. Why are we 3-0 down? Because we couldn't defend set pieces properly, and we got caught cold in transition again, as we've seen many times, or as we saw many times last year. So I think we have some sins to atone for. We got some errors that we need to set straight this Sunday. I'm not really looking too much into who you're playing, who you're not playing. I just know what we need to do, right? Because irrespective of whoever you play, I know we need to be better on the set pieces. I know we need to be better in your box. Like I said, turning that possession into genuine chances against your defense. And when we do create those chances, that we did with Romero and Son, taking those chances, we need to do both those things well. I think if we do both those things well, irrespective of who you play, I think we win the game. So I'm not expecting an easy game. Even with the absences, I'm not a fool. Like everyone keeps telling me, oh, no Rice, no Odegaard. Don't get me wrong. It's a big difference in terms of what those players can bring. But in terms of the setup that I saw from Arsenal last year, I don't think it's that detrimental to your team setup on Sunday, because I feel like he's going to set up the same way. He knows our weakness. If we continue to show the same weakness, he's just going to exploit it. Which is why I'm praying and begging and hoping that our manager mixes it up a little in terms of how we actually approach this game from a defensive and an offensive point of view. So I think we're going to win this game of football. I don't think it's going to be a battering. I don't think we're going to blow you lot away. I think it's going to be a closely fought and contested game, but I think we're going to win, man. We have to win. There's no two ways about it. Like, a draw's not even good enough for me. We literally have to win this game, and I know the same I know the same sentiment is shared with you lot as well.
I think you're bang on the money. I think regardless of the injuries, as you said, to have no Moreno, who's just signed for the club, Declan Rice, Odegaard suspended. Well, Odegaard's out, Declan Rice is suspended. You then look at Jesus and Sterling, wondering if they're fit enough to start, let alone play 90 minutes. Obviously, there's chinks in the armor. I don't know if there's going to be a tweak, whether we're going to play 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, 3 at the back, put Timber in midfield. And if I'm honest, I don't really care. You've got a squad to use it. Now, I can bitch, pardon my language, as much as I want as a fan. The window's shut. This is what we've got. Make it work. Because I'm not being funny. It's not Formula One where your cars and your mechanics make the difference. It's still football. Whether you're 17 like Ethan or, in your 30s like Jorginho. Of course, Spurs naturally should be smelling blood. But I'm not being funny. And I don't mean this on the shadiest of way. Even if we put a weakened side out there, I genuinely believe Spurs are not that good to be getting scared. If it was Man City with all of these injuries, of course I'll get shook. Now, don't get twisted. You need to earn the right to play. We still need to put in a performance and all of that jazz. I just want 3 points. I don't know how you do it. I don't really care how you do it. We're chasing 2 points lost against Brighton. This needs to be an insurance policy going into, obviously, Manchester City. And again, any bit of form you can get is great. I do think people get excited negatively and positively too early into the season. But, we've not had the transfer window we'd have liked. You've seen all the injuries. Arteta signed a new deal, which, depending on where you feel as an Arsenal fan, is going to be a talking point. Anytime and obviously drop points against Brighton with the referee, anytime you can win and go into this run of games that we're facing, you need to put in a performance. I don't want nothing less than 3 points, really. And I know we're not going to replicate the top 6 record we had last season, and ultimately it counted for nothing. But I did like that competitive ilk. And again, one thing I'll give my club is away from home, we're a lot more solid. And in life, when you're backed against a corner, you need to stand up and fight. Now, I don't want woe is me. At the end of the day, you're just go out there and win the game. Just go out there and play well. I genuinely want anything from 4 to 6 points between Man City and Spurs. Of course, I want to beat Spurs. I'd rather beat you lot and draw with City, but 6 would be ideal. 4 is a minimum, or you can kiss goodbye to slim chances of him probably winning the Premier League. Anyways, I wanted to. I'm going with 2. Go on. I
was going to say though, with that though, like, I know obviously the competition is Man City. The competition is the competition, but we just seeing the way the Prem normally shapes up. Like, I think it's damaging. 2 losses back to back will be damaging for Arsenal, but I don't think it's going to be. It sounds peak saying this because obviously you lot missed out by 2 points, but I don't see your title hopes ending even if you lose 2 games back to back in the next 2 weeks. I don't see it ending.
It can't end. It can't end. Like, obviously, fan sentiment. Yeah, bro, it can't end, because reality is, I'm not saying it means we're going to go on a mad run and win the remaining 30-odd games, but it can't be like that. I've never been a fan of this point in the season just crying about things. Of course, it's peak, but as you know, a week is a long time in football, let alone a couple of games. If we go on a run, people are going to run to the houses and proclaim, bring us Real Madrid in the champs, etc. Of course, misery likes company. I don't think we can get too excited. I think genuinely we need to deal with what's in front of us, and I agree with that, and that's the point. Obviously, that's not the point people want to hear on social media. What's probably going to be selling things is Spurs win, end our title challenges, Arsenal win, we've shown some fight, etc. I don't really care about that. For me, it's about from here till December, you're still in and around the Liverpools and Cities. You've still got something to play for with the Prems and the champs and whatnot. I'm very disappointed personally about the depth, keyword depth. I think we've brought in some good additions, but for a manager that's been crying in March and April about we've got one of the smallest squads, we've done nothing to address that. Now, don't get twisted. Vieira, Smith Rowe and Ketia, they all needed to go and things of that ilk, right? But the bodies, and I don't want to be reactionary, everyone's a genius in hindsight, but Smith Rowe could have been in contention to play in this game. I wouldn't have played Fabio Vieira even if he was at the club against you lot, but he's someone on the bench. I'll be brutally honest. I wanted Eddie to leave, of course, but if Eddie and Ketia was fit, I know people don't like him. He starts for me against Spurs because I think it's a game where you need a striker. And I look back a couple of years ago when we won. Fair enough, Romero's a quality centre back. Eddie and Ketia is nothing to write home about where strikers are concerned. But in that game, he gave you a lot of problems and he did what he needed to do. And this is where I'm happy I'm not Mikel Arteta. like 2 years ago. Like 2 years. Don't chat shit. Don't chat shit. Eddie Nketiah played off. He stressed out Romero. I promise you.
No, he didn't.
When we had the collars, don't chat nonsense, Tobes. Please go and watch the game again. Go and watch the game again. Go and watch how go and watch his hold up play. I'm not even dissing Romero.
Nketiah played against us last season and he got absolutely padlocked by Romero.
The season before, mate. Not last year. The season before, I'm referring to.
The season before, I don't think he played against us.
He did play against you lot. He did play against you lot. When we won and we had the scarf up on your thing, Eddie played very well in that game. He done his part. I'm not trying to push agendas. I'm saying he played very well.
Are you talking about which game? Because
when we had the collars, bro, we had the collar, man. We had the collar. Whatever year that was. Not last year, the season before. The season where,
So that was, so that was the 3-1. That was the 3-1 game.
The season where we fell off when Rob Holding had to come into the tie for Saliba. Yeah, he played very well in that game for me. And Eddie's not, I've got to be honest.
Jesus caused us problems that game, not Nketiah.
Eddie, please go and watch the game again. Because I can really go on YouTube right now and bring the tactical analysis. Because I didn't want Eddie Nketiah to start, bro. I'm not even trying to banter Romero. I'm being honest. Like, Eddie Nketiah worked the channels well. He gave Romero problems and he did his individual part for the collective. That's why I want a striker playing up front against you lot. I don't personally feel it's a game for all that false nine business. Of course, people can say on the transition, etc., etc. But it's a game like this where I think we're in these problems because of ourselves. Of course, people can get injured, people can get suspended. You know, it's a bit of a harsh luck that we found ourselves in this. But it's like, if you know it's going to rain outside, you need to bring an umbrella or a jacket. We've gone out there in socks and shorts and we're complaining. We just need to get on with it, man. To wrap this up, though, I wanted to ask you, if we go through Arsenal and Spurs and we do a combined 11, let's start with the goalies. Who are you going with?
See, for me, I would have gone with Vicario based off what he.
What, the guy crying about his gloves being played with? I don't know about that. I'm going with my guy with the golden glove.
So let's have this right. I actually think Raya, in terms of his goalkeeping characteristics, what he can do as a goalkeeper versus Vicario, I think Raya is a better goalkeeper. Let's not forget, we wanted Raya last summer. I was disappointed to not sign Raya, but I was happy with Vicario, and Vicario's proven.
You're used to disappointment, bro.
He performed better than Raya did last year. Individually.
How did really?
Yes.
Better than Raya. I'm looking at him in the same way I look at Bird Leno when we had that call. He's being called into action, like fam.
You're gonna do that thing where you Arsenal fans, you're gonna do that thing where you pretend that Raya was amazing throughout his.
No, Raya weren't amazing. He was better than Vicario. Of course, if you're having 100, if your team is exposing you to 100 chances, you're gonna be doing well. Yeah, I'm seeing Vicario shouting at youngers against Leicester.
I can flip that the same way. When your coach sets you up well enough and you have a better back four in front of you that are able to,
as you should be doing,
a better back five, because he had
a better collective unit.
Basuma fell off. Declan Rice didn't. Yeah. So
who's that? Basuma.
He had a better back five in front of him that was able to literally stop teams from creating that many chances, creating that many shots at goal. So don't get me wrong, I'm not mad at Raya going into the team over Vicario, but I don't really like how Arsenal fans are dismissive of Vicario.
I can't speak on any other Arsenal fan. I actually think Vicario's decent. I'm just going with Raya. Like, it's Raya, bro.
Yeah, Raya. And as I said, I'm not pressing.
Raya even tried to get you lot back in the game last year, man, with that pass to Partey. But you should be going for Raya as well.
There you go. That's your combined 11 goals.
Yeah, I'm never gonna kill a man for making mistakes, but I've seen Vicario. I'd rather my keeper make a mistake over bravery than cry about somebody playing with your gloves. Soft youths, bro. Like, it's a Raya thing. Centre halves.
Okay.
I'm screaming my centre halves.
Yeah, I'll give Arsenal centre halves. I think your centre halves are better than ours. I think ours are centre.
Big up Van de Ven though.
Yeah, I think our centre halves are quality, but I just think your centre backs are better at this point in time. I think Saliba's Saliba and Gabriel's Gabriel, man. I think they're both like top centre backs. So ours are top, but yours are like top. So yeah,
this is where it gets interesting when we talk about fullbacks, right back. Because I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't trade Benjamin White for Poro, but I'm gonna go with Puro. Huh?
You're gonna go with Poro?
Yeah, purely because theoretically in this team, I know he's not as switched on as Benjamin White defensively, but Puro's someone I'm looking at when we play on Sunday. I think he's very good going forward. I think in theory, him and Saka, they will cook down that right hand side. So I'll actually go with Puro still for the purpose of this.
Poro's good. I think sometimes he gets a little bit too much heat of Spurs fans, but because he can't defend as well, but he's very good going forward. But I would have actually gone with Ben White, because I think Ben White, you just get more balance because he's got the technical quality and he can defend better. I think it's left back for me where I'm saying, sorry, Destiny has to be in this team. He has to be in this team.
Destiny. I'm seeing him getting doggied with the last goal he conceded live, but I'm taking every Arsenal left back apart from Zinchenko over.
Which based
apart
off
from Zinni. Apart from Zinni.
So you're taking Kivy over him?
I'm taking Kivy. Come on, man. Kivy was a centre half. We're not including him. Dead that as well.
Calafiori hasn't even.
I'm taking Calafiori over him. I'm taking Timber over him. I'm taking Tomiyasu over him. Safe. You lot were saying best left back in the Prem. Like,
this is why I know you stand. So you'd rather have Porro in the team over Destiny, even though Destiny's a better fullback than Porro.
For what Puro, that's how I know you have a selective hearing for in this theoretical stuff. For what Puro is going to give with Bukayo Saka, I'm going for that. Destiny and Doggy's a good left back. I did a video when he was in Italy in 2019. I wanted him at Arsenal, so I'm not dissing him. I just know I'm taking Tomiyasu. I'm taking him over him. Timber 100%. I am Calafiori 100%. Vicario will tell you that Calafiori is better than him.
No, he wouldn't. No, he
would. He would.
Italy too. So
yeah, because he's a token. That's why he's there. They're just on some Balotelli. He's a token, man. Tick box exercise.
We're not going to agree on that one. So let's move on.
All right, cool. Midfield,
it's a no-brainer. Declan Rice in the 6 and Maddison and Odegaard ahead of him. Straight done.
I don't think Maddison's in there. I don't think he's in there. I think it's Thomas, Declan Rice, and Odegaard. Still, I don't think he's are there. Yeah, Thomas Partey with his 5 games.
Thomas, who's getting ragdolled by Morgan Rogers.
That's cool. What happened at Ulot's place last year? Partey hasn't been a player for about 5 years. He's got more significant moments than Odegaard. What has Maddison done apart from do a dart celebration? What has he done?
Bro, stop it, man.
What's he done? You lot tried to say you wanted him over Odegaard. What's he done in the game? At Spurs, what's he done? What's he done, bro?
He has to do more. But we're talking about combined 11 here, like best possible picks. You're really telling me you would rather Declan Rice, who is elite defensively. He's not an elite player overall, but defensively, he is ridiculous at winning duels, tackling. You would rather Declan Rice be the left 8.
Declan Rice, Partey, Odegaard.
Play. You'd rather that to get Partey in than play.
Yeah, Maddison's going to get run over in midfield. Because who goes in the 8? You're going to put Maddison in the 8. I don't know about them darts merchants.
I'm putting Maddison.
He was good last August, and I haven't seen him since.
You've seen him this August. You've seen him in September.
He's going to fall off. We'll have this conversation again in December.
We'll see. And people need to say that. People need to stop doing this. Last year was the first year where I can genuinely say the form completely fell off in comparison to the first half of the season. If you watch the season prior with Leicester, he was pretty good the whole season.
Yeah, no, big him up for the Leicester thing. But in that lily white shirt, boy, it's looking speed.
In the lily white shirt, there's questions that he needs to answer. But let's not pretend that you would rather see Declan Rice struggling to take the ball in the half turn in the 8th position. I've seen
Declan Rice have his best goal scoring season. I've seen him score bangers against West Ham and Chelsea. I've seen him score late winners against United. He looks more clutch than Maddison, mate. I know Partey with his 5 games is going to give me something. I like Maddison. Don't worry, you can come off the bench. There's 5 subs, bro. Like, it's calm. And then again, Odegaard, Maddison in midfield, it will cook, but they're going to get ran over. I'd rather Odegaard, just be the Beyonce and, Maddison's Michelle and that. I don't know about Maddison, man. Big him up. Big him up, man. Big him up for making the Euro squad as well. Big him up.
Don't agree with that one, to be honest, but let's go. Keep
playing game. All right, right wing is clearly Bukayo.
Yep, left wing is
Son. No debate. It's Son. Up front, I'm screaming Kai Havertz.
No, I'm going with the guy who scored 19 Premier League goals last season.
That's cool. In a Spurs shirt. Bournemouth play better football than you.
Yeah, but
Areola's certified.
But you've just said you'd have Calafiori over Dogi, even though Calafiori's barely played.
Yeah, I've seen enough in the Arsenal shirt, bro. Seen enough in the Arsenal shirt, bro. I haven't. So I can use my eyes. I've seen he's a better footballer. Oh, in your heart, use your eyes. You know Calafiori's better.
I'm using my eyes.
And then I'm saying Timber. And I'm saying Timber. If it's not Calafiori, I'm saying Timber.
Timber over 3 games. All right,
yeah, 3 games, or is it the Community Shield? Is it the 50 minutes until when he got injured? I'm screaming Timber. It's either Timber, Calafiori, or Tomiyasu. Like, take your pick. All 3 of them. Might even be Kivio now. I'm chatting. Up front, you could have Solanke. Because I actually think Solanke's not a bad player. I agree with what you said in the opening sentiment about, obviously you've overpaid. But I don't think he's a bad player. I just think he's someone that people poke fun at. I think he's kind of struggled in that in his early career. He didn't really do nothing to scream and shout about. Huh?
Kai Havertz. Like you said, he's someone who people poke fun at. So like Kai Havertz.
Yeah, Kai Havertz, Champions League winner, bro. There's got to be a correlation with us, pulling off the masterclass.
Come on. Kai Havertz,
he don't.
Kai Havertz has played his best football in the Premier League in 2024.
Look at that absolute weldy of a pass that he did against you. If that's Kevin De Bruyne, oof.
Agree. So I'm not agreeing with what you just said. I'm agreeing with Kai Havertz playing his best football in 2024. But Kai Havertz has been a joke man prior to joining Arsenal. He's been a complete joke man for Chelsea. If he was so good, they wouldn't have sold him.
He's a Champions League winner, bro. He scored a winner in the Champions League final. How can he be a joke?
So is Mason Mount, and now he's in Azkaban in Manchester.
Yeah, you can't call him a joke. You can't call him a joke. He's not a joke. How can he be a joke?
Timo Werner's a Champions League winner as well. So what's
he's not a joke, man. For this, he's not. Agendas have to agenda. He's not a joke, man.
Oh, so Timo Werner's not a joke, man.
He's not a joke, man. He's not a joke, man.
You're a disgrace. You're actually a disgrace.
Mind games, man. Listen, but you know what? Maybe even Sterling over Son might be a shout. I don't know, bro. I don't know. Now I'm playing. My last question for you, then, yeah. Score predictions. I'm going 2-1. Greasy 2-1. Robbery for Arsenal, obviously. You really reckon there's 5 goals in that?
Yeah.
I think both teams are going to move shook, if I'm honest with you, at the beginning. I expect you lot to come out the blocks firing. You got your 12th man. Obviously, you've lost the last 2 years. I'm three in a row unspeakable. But I think it's a bit like last year. I think it's a kind of a mirror image of last year, but like with less quality, if that makes sense. Like the game, let's be honest, last year was stinky. It was made up because of somehow Arsenal were 3 goals up. Spurs did well, but not enough. Obviously, you had the handball. You had maybe even Trossard's penalty shout. You had the Raya mistake. Typically, the North London derbies are just summed up by mistakes. I don't think we'll keep a clean sheet because I expect you lot to get a penalty as you always do. And Son likes to do his Tom Daly impressions, but it's all cool, man. Like it is, again, Sunday we're frying the chickens, but tapping toes, man. It's a shame because you're actually one of the good Spurs lads. It's just I don't know. I know your brother's an Arsenal fan. I don't quite know what happened in that household. I don't know why. Maybe you just went against the grain. Huh?
Whatever, bro. Whatever.
Let people know they can find you, man.
Tapping toes on all platforms. I might actually. So I did a video earlier in the week. I might actually do another one today or tomorrow just to get another one out there before the game. And then we'll take it from there. In fact, you know what? I might actually just do a stream with my twin brother tomorrow. Let's see if he's free.
Yeah, you're being silly, man. North London derby, twin brothers, opposite teams. The content is there, bro. I don't know why that's not even been written down and planned, bro. And people like.
Yeah, it's because it's been too busy the last couple of days. But I'll see.
Before we get out of here as well, congratulations on your engagement, man. Hopefully, when you have a kid, they don't support that club, but it's cool, man.
They will.
It's calm, man.
She don't have a choice. She's an Arsenal fan as well, but they don't have
flipping hell, mate. You're on the troops thing. Flipping hell. That's going to be an interesting household, man. But yeah, man, you know where to find Tapping Toes, bro. Slap his name in on YouTube. Obviously, he's on the Big 6 with Turkish and Matisse and the rest of the lads. And again, the man just told you he's going to get some more content out, so subscribe and crucially turn on your notification bells. As usual, broski, one love for doing this with myself. Let me let you get out of it. I know you're pressed for time as well, man. Let us know your thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace. You always